It's funny because, like, if we win, this is going to be the, like, summer home. I'm just gonna be like, every time I've ever come here, I've hated it. Why am I here?
Hassan Piker, who has made a series of inflammatory comments, as you well know, including saying America deserved 9/11, describing Hamas as a lesser evil than Israel. Do you plan to continue to campaign with Hasan Piker in the general election campaign?
Look, I'm less concerned now with who I'm campaigning with.
Would you welcome him, though? On the campaign trail with you?
Like I said, I'm a lot more focused on who I'm campaigning to.
Another person who's been made an issue is Hasan Piker, who obviously endorsed Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan. You've been on his live stream, you know, at least a few times. He's somebody who said, you know, that America deserved 9/11. Now he backed off from that. Is he somebody that should have a role in the progressive movement going forward?
You know, I think when we look at our elections that have happened, we have lost young people.
Are Jews no longer welcome in the Democratic Party in Michigan?
We have seen rising anti-Semitism. And I even said at our last convention, my husband, who is Jewish, I'm in an interfaith marriage, an anti-Semitic slur was screamed in his face.
But yeah, do I have some things I'd like to talk to you, Abdul, about? Certainly. I also want to speak to him about some of the surrogates that he uses that, you know, are concerning to some people. We have 5 members of the Democratic Party who have been charged with anti-Semitic acts of violence, of vandalism and harassment and threats to other Democratic officials, some of whom are Jewish.
What responsibility does Abdul El-Sayed and the other members of the party that listens to him have to combat the anti-Semitism or that language and to make sure that people like you do feel safe at the convention?
Well, first of all, I'd like for him to tone down his rhetoric a little bit.
So that's the poison from the Democrat communists running to be your politicians and politicians out of Michigan to represent America. They sound like they hate America, that they hate Jews, they're anti-Semitic. That first was the Democrat communist running for the Senate in Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed, caught on camera saying he hates Michigan's big tourist attraction, its famous vacation spot, Mackinac Island. It brings in 1 million tourists and 30 million tax revenues to the state each year and employs 6,000 workers. And then El-Sayed dodging and with a word salad, not disavowing communist Hassan Piker, who said Americans deserve 9/11. AOC also dodging with the word salad on that, saying basically she's not denouncing right there what Hassan Piker said. Americans deserve 9/11. Plus, Michigan Democrat Mallory McMorrow, Michigan State Democrat Attorney General Dana Nessel warning Democrat communists are anti-Semitic. Nessel feels so unsafe from El-Sayed supporters, she's not going to her party's nominating convention later this month. Joining us now, Fox News contributor, Washington Post columnist Marc Thiessen. Marc, this is beyond divisiveness. We love reading you and listening to you. What's your reaction to all this? This is open-poured bigotry and attacks on people like Jews.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I was in the Pentagon on 9/11 when the planes hit. I felt the building shake. I smelled the smoke. I lived through that attack. For Piker to say that Americans deserve 9/11, and then El-Sayed says, well, his comments were out of context. What context is there for the comment that Americans deserve 9/11? There's no context. Hassan Piker is the Nick Fuentes of the left. He's a rabid anti-Semite communist who thinks that Mao Zedong was a great leader and the collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest tragedy of the 20th century. And this guy's campaigning with him and hanging out with him at a pool party. You know, it's not enough to just distance yourself or say that was out of context and you don't associate with that. You shouldn't be associating with him. If there was a Republican candidate campaigning with Nick Fuentes, hanging out by the pool and having drinks with Nick Fuentes, do you think that the Democrats wouldn't be all over that? It's ridiculous.
You know, it's poison for America. People don't understand, you know, the 25th anniversary of 9/11 is coming up, 3,000 people murdered. And he's campaigning with a guy who said Americans deserve that. I mean, El-Sayed, you reported on this. He only won by a point in his Democrat primary. He calls himself a doctor. He's not a real doctor. He doesn't have doctor's licenses. Now, Jill Biden's former press secretary, Michael LaRosa, officially endorsed Mike Rogers, and Elon Musk's America PAC is openly targeting El-Sayed to stop him. What do you think?
Well, I mean, saying you're a doctor without a medical license is like saying you're a lawyer when you never passed the bar. But look, here's the thing. Right now, what you're seeing is that I think Senator Fetterman put this best. All the left has been campaigning in a bubble, right? A left-wing bubble where they're talking to each other. They're trying to win their primaries. Now the Hong and El-Sayed have to now come out and talk to normal Americans. And they don't want to hear that 9/11 was our own fault. They don't want to hear that Michiganders don't want to hear that Mackinac Island is you hate Mackinac Island. They also, by the way, he said the other day that football is homophobic and racist. I'm sorry. Is the University of Michigan fans going to go for that in their senator? A senator who thinks that football is homophobic and racist? So they're going to have to win over mainstream voters now, and it's going to be a lot harder than they think.
Mark, we're going to hear more word salads out of people like AOC, trying to disavow these positions the closer they come to election. This is them lying and misleading to stay or gain power, misleading and lying about their past positions the closer they come to the midterms. Marc Thiessen, thank you so much. Now